Hi everyone, it's Exodius Light and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I've been anticipating this review for so long. I have the Range Beauty True Intentions foundation here. Can't wait to share with you all my thoughts and opinions, the application process, all of that. So if you're interested in this foundation review, go ahead and keep on watching. So a little bit about this company. I stumbled across them on Twitter. I was just, scrolling through the feed, talking with a bunch of people in the makeup community, and I saw a post, or well, a subtweet of Range Beauty's original tweet, and it was about their True Intentions foundation, and I was like, okay, I'll check it out, I saw something about eczema, and I was like, well, I do have eczema, and I have a lot of flare-ups, so I'm curious, like, how well is this gonna work? So I went ahead and did some researching and looked at the ingredients. That's the first thing I always do with any product from any company, especially when it comes to complexion products, because like I stated, I have dry skin and I also do have eczema flare-ups quite often, and they range from my hands to my face, sometimes on my skin, so it's a process, but I find it to be very helpful because I don't feel like I'm wasting my money as often, because sometimes you still get a dud regardless. So I went ahead and I checked out the ingredients list and it was really solid. I'll go ahead and post a link to their website down below, so that way if you're curious to see the ingredients for this particular shade that I have, you can just click on that link and go ahead. The shade I did grab is the shade Vila. It is, it claims to be a fair foundation with, what was it, yellow undertones? Yeah, yellow olive undertones. And that was like perfect. I was like, yeah, that's me. Someone made a foundation for me. I mean, it's really hard to find yellow or olive undertones in any foundation, so let alone an indie brand. And I was like, cool, okay, I'll see you. This is what it looks like. It definitely is still a smidge too dark for me. I was outside in the sun a lot yesterday, so I did darken up and made this a little more passable, because yesterday I looked a little clownish. I had to make it work, I had to finesse it, but I mean, it's still such a wonderful formula. Alright, so this is the packaging. It just comes in your standard little pump. At first I thought it would be mousse because it kind of had like that style of pump, but it's, it's just regular cream. It's not too thick. It's actually a very lightweight foundation, almost like a tinted moisturizer, if you will. It has that like really hydrating, light, airy feel to it. You get 1 fluid ounce in this product. See here, I'm reading all of this. So it's cruelty-free, it's a vegan formula, and it doesn't have talc, phthalates, parabens, silicones, sulfates. Ooh, I feel like I'm missing one. I'll post everything it doesn't have, just like right next to my face, because I'm like, I don't want to say it has something it doesn't have, so I'll correct myself. But yeah, so this foundation retails for $21, and there are 21 shades on the website. Alicia, she's the CEO, or Alicia, I'll post her name too. She's the CEO and founder of Range Beauty, and she has a sample program, which I think is really great. So the samples come in this jar right here. It doesn't look like it's a lot, but she fills it up like all of the way. I've used this whole entire sample up. That's the shade Vila. I bought, oh my gosh, I don't know what the hell is itching my lip, but okay. There we go. I bought the shade Vila and I bought the shade Baked. So I purchased these shades because I wasn't entirely sure what everyone's definition of light, medium, deep is all different, right? What I consider medium would be considered light for some. What I consider light for myself is considered fair. What I consider fair would be light, you know what I mean? It's like a mess. So I went ahead and got their samples at first. This is Baked. As you can tell, Baked is very deep. I could probably get away with this later in my summer as my summer shade. But Vila is a really good kind of year-round shade because I can still make it work and it still has the right undertones. So I have the foundation pumped on my hand right here. It's a really nice coverage. It does say it's sheer to medium coverage. I think that's being very nice. Like, I find this to be more of a medium coverage, but I do apply it with a brush, and I'll show you why in a moment. But yeah, so I do apply it with a brush. I find like I get a really nice medium coverage. It's not full coverage by any means. I don't really want a full coverage foundation, especially for every day, because that's why I purchased this, to have something to wear every day that felt good on my skin, made me feel a little more polished, and if I was having a flare-up, I could still kind of use it to spot treat like that redness and not necessarily have even more sensitivity due to the product being on my face. And I find that this works really well for that. It has a nice glowy finish, so you can see. I would call this a soft matte finish. Maybe a skin-like, yeah, probably a skin-like satin finish. It definitely doesn't feel cakey or heavy on the skin either. I was actually quite impressed, because when you do find more hydrating formulas, they tend to be, most of the time, they either are just shiny and they're like a more of a matte formula, or they are hydrating but they feel really sticky on the skin, and I didn't find that to be the case, either way with this foundation. It has a very nice luminous finish, or well, not luminous, but has a nice skin-like finish without being super tacky on the skin. A couple of ingredients that are in this foundation are candula and cornflower extract. They claim that this is going to be an anti-inflammatory, antibacterial type of deal. Those ingredients are meant to help treat and prevent eczema as well as acne. It has chamomile as well, and that's supposed to help soothe the skin and help with itchiness as well. So if you have eczema, you totally know that, like, when your face is so dry, it itches and it burns because it's so dry. And like, if you put any creams on your face, so having that in there really was like, wow, okay, like I really could use this during a flare-up and probably be okay. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, all right, let's keep looking at the ingredients list. It also contains kaolin clay, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a French clay. There's a lot of different uses for kaolin clay. There's topical, internal, stuff like that, right? Like digestive uses, but they obviously use this topically. And what that does is it helps balance the skin and prevent oils from breaking the foundation down and like peeping through and getting you super shiny throughout the day. I personally found that kaolin clay can be a tiny bit too much for my skin. Honestly, talc is way too much for my skin, so kaolin clay is like kind of there, but not as bad. As far as texture-wise, though, it doesn't seem to emphasize my texture on my skin, which, again, I'll show you. So I found that to be really nice and helpful, because I do have texture on my skin. I feel like we all do, right? Because it's skin. It has pores, it has bumps, stuff like that. But when I'm going through a flare-up or just exiting a flare-up, I definitely have more dry patches. So this doesn't seem to emphasize any of those, and that was really nice. As far as the formula goes, it does have like a more hydrating formula base to it. Like I said, it's definitely really lightweight and airy, so I'm pretty sure this has a water base to it. And oh, the last claim was that it is sweat and transfer proof. I think those are both fair claims. They didn't seem to transfer on my face yesterday, and I was outside for a very long time. I'll touch my face right down here because that's where I don't have any additional product. So yeah, I'm not seeing, I don't know what that is, but I'm not seeing any transfer, which is nice. One thing I do want to mention, though, is that this foundation is definitely not a fan of water. I noticed that when water touches this foundation, it actually tends to kind of bead up. Actually, I'll just show you right here on my hand. I just wiped it off too, like a ding dong. Okay. I'm massaging this into my skin to make sure it absorbs really well. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you all exactly what happens when water touches this. Setting spray, anything liquidy that touches this, it starts to kind of freak out. So, do you see that? That's foundation running. With foundation, Okay, so I sprayed my hand just with some fixing spray. Anything wet that touches this foundation will do this. Water. I got sprayed in the face yesterday with like sprinkles of water, and I had little white specks like this all over my face. I do want to say though that you can just kind of massage it back into your skin, right? Give it a few seconds, let this dry up, and it'll settle back right down into being that nice color you have, right? Your foundation shade. But yeah, if you're going through an amusement park or if you have kids, this might not be the foundation for you for those type of situations, just because life happens, and if you get your face wet, you're gonna have a runny face. That being said, it definitely held up through sweat, and I was able to grab my kids, love on them, be a good mama, you know, all that stuff, right? And I didn't have any foundation like rubbing off onto their clothes when I gave them a hug or when I'm tickling them or anything like that. So like that was good. I have boys, so we don't play nice here. It's roughhousing constantly. If you're a boy mom, you understand. But yeah, see? So you've just got to catch it in time. If you were to let it settle the way it was, like just wet, then yeah, you're gonna run into some problems. But for the most part, that's the only kind of, I guess, con to this foundation. The other thing I wanted to mention was the shade range. So I love a good shade range. I really do. It's hard for, I feel, a lot of new brands when they first come out with foundations to extend a shade range, because they do need that money. Like, it ain't cheap to formulate products. And when I saw the shade range, initially I thought baked would be my color, because I'm never in the fair category, ever. And in this brand, I'm really glad I got the fair color Vila, because this is supposed to be my shade. I'm not fair. I lighter complected, yes, like my complexion is more on the light to medium spectrum, but definitely not fair. So that is just something I want you to keep in mind as you're shopping for this foundation and looking through the samples. If you feel like, okay, this looks like my shade because of the undertones, whatever the case may be, then you know, purchase the sample shades, try it out, see how it works. Because once it dries down and it kind of settles down on the skin, it does go about a hair darker. I wouldn't call it oxidation because it's not going orange, it's not going green, it's not going pink. It stays true to its undertone. However, it does settle down just a little darker. That being said, you don't need setting powder when you use this foundation. At least I found that I don't set anywhere on my face, even if I know I'm going to get oily, because I found that it, you know, if I blot with like 1-ply toilet paper, which by the way, that's like the best way to blot your face, you will totally be okay. All the oil's gone. It's all good. So I highly recommend that. I really feel like that kind of concludes all of my thoughts and opinions on this foundation. Like I stated before, it is $21, so I feel this is a pretty good price range. I feel like you get a great amount of product. And I personally don't find that I'm using too much on my face when I'm using it the way I prefer to, which again, you'll see in the video. So yeah, if you'd like to see an application demonstration on this product, you can go ahead and keep watching, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Alright, so I am back. It has been, let me see how long it's been. Oh my gosh, it has been about 8 hours since I applied this foundation. I've been outside with my kids, running around, playing. We've been, so active. The weather's been beautiful, so we figured we'd take advantage of it and just blow off some steam from being inside for so long. Oh, with all that said, my foundation's held up so beautifully well. I'm gonna zoom in for you all so you can see here. So like right here, I'm starting to get a tiny bit more shiny. And my chin still has some foundation. It started to fade. I wouldn't necessarily say come off. Right along here. Creasing is very minimal. Usually this crease right here is predominant, but this is fixable by just tapping it out. I'm down for that. And then my forehead, honestly, I'm not even gonna bother. It's not that creased up at all. My under eyes were lightly set with powder, and I used the Hydrating e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I did use a little bit more than I typically tend to do, but even with that said, 8 hours, everyone. This is really good for me. My skin right now would totally have giant, massive breakouts if I did not like it. Or well, if my skin didn't like it, I should say. And I don't feel like I have anything on my skin at all. My face doesn't feel dry. It doesn't look dry, which is like a huge bonus. And oil-wise, I don't honestly feel like I look that oily. I've definitely got a little bit of oil peeking through right here. I can feel it. But honestly, that is so fixable with just touching it up. Choop, choop, choop. I'm just grabbing a clean brush, or well, cleaning off a brush here so that way I can touch up. All I do is just tap. Now the foundation on my nose is worn off. That's definitely just a personal problem I have. No foundation really likes to stay there. And I can't blame it because I do have allergies, so I am like constantly using tissues to kind of like relieve the itch / get rid of that like sneeze. So there's that. But this concludes my whole review on this video. So if you're in the market for a brand new foundation that you can wear daily that will, survive almost anything you can throw at it, I feel like this is a really great one, especially if you have sensitive skin and acne prone skin. Like I said, my skin looks just like a better version of itself, and I really, really like this product. That's all